It's time to break it down for the wellness baddies as we chat about what exercise is truly right for your body. Welcome back to Wellness Fixes the Pod. I'm your host, Dr. Kelsey Vick, a board-certified orthopedic doctor of physical therapy, a pelvic floor physical therapist, and the owner and founder of the Ella Wellness Sisterhood. And today's Breakdown for the Baddies episode is going to tag along with Dr. Dixie Stanforth's episode over exercising as women and the things to keep in mind when trying to figure out what exercise is truly right for our bodies. So if you didn't get to listen to that episode, it is episode, I believe, 57 with Dr. Dixie Stanforth. She is a PhD, a kinesiology professor. She's a fellow of the American College of Sports Medicine. She is a wealth of knowledge. She's one of the people that have influenced me the most, especially in my professional life and helping me to get to where I am today and just giving me a passion for the field of exercise, but also for just movement for life. So I was very grateful to have her on. I get the question a lot, what exercise is right for my body? We see so much about pilates and strength training and yoga and bar and hiking and walking and low intensity steady state and high intensity interval training and cortisol lowering workouts and lower impact workouts. And it gets to be so confusing to know what exercise truly is supposed to be working for my body in order to set me up for success long term. So I really wanted to have Dr. Dixie on to discuss this because it can be so confusing with so many different opinions and so many different people promoting one form of exercise that I felt like it was important to chat about the basics of it. So we'll run it back today. We'll run through some of the concepts that we covered and dive a little bit deeper so that you guys can truly know how to structure your routines and your systems and your healthy movements and healthy fueling so that you guys will know how to approach your body when it comes to movement and how to know what exercise will be right for your body. So when we talk about exercise and what exercise is right for you or right for me, there's a few different pillars to look at. And the first one is the most important, but it's what do you enjoy doing? And I don't want this to go unnoticed because it's one of the pillars that I feel like a lot of people miss. What do you actually enjoy doing? If you enjoy doing something, you're going to be that much more consistent with it, and you're going to see the positive changes that come from that. The second pillar is what does my body positively respond to? And that's based on your injury history, what goals you have for yourself, and is your body reaching those goals that you have for yourself? And how do you feel in your body after that movement or after that exercise? And this can be applied to a lot of different routines in our body, from fueling to mindfulness to sleep. But we'll focus today on the movement and exercise side of things, since that's where Dr. Dixie's episode focused on primarily. So when we're trying to figure out how to mesh, what does your body positively respond to with what do you enjoy doing? I cannot overstate the importance of experimentation. And this is one of the primary blessings that has come from being in the exercise science realm and the physical therapy realm is I get to learn the science and the physiology of how the body works and experiment with my own body. Your body is the ultimate form of experimentation. You can use some of the things that you're learning in these podcast episodes and apply them to your training to see how your body responds. We know the science, we know the physiology behind all of these different things, but only you know how your body responds to it. So my hope is that by giving you the science, by giving you some of the rep ranges that we talked about in the Hotter and Smarter episode last week, giving you the specifics of how your body responds to certain exercises, it will empower you to trial different things, sprinkle in different types of movement, different types of exercise into your routine so that you really can hone in on what does my body positively respond to when it comes to my injury history, when it comes to my goals, when it comes to what I enjoy doing, and be able to figure out what truly is the right exercise and the right routine for your body. So with experimentation, we know there are certain ways to improve certain metrics, and that's the education that Dr. Dixie shared with us, and that's the education I'm trying to share with you so that I can give you the science, and we can give you the science with all of these experts, and then you can go and experiment with your own body. One of the best things I did in college when I was studying under Dr. Dixie and Phil was experimenting with all of the different metrics and rep ranges and types of exercise that we were learning about. So I was able to adjust some of the cardiovascular workouts that I was doing to optimize my VO2 or optimize my speed, or some of the strength workouts to optimize my power. And if you're questioning how to do that, I did a really quick 5-minute episode, Hotter and Smarter in 5 minutes, that I'll link in the show notes below for the specific rep ranges to improve muscular metrics and then also to improve cardiovascular metrics within your own body. In the episode with Dr. Dixie, we also mention the importance of variety when it comes to exercising as women. And as a human in general, variety is so good for so many different things, not only to keep enjoyment, because sometimes we just get tired of one form of workout. If you're like me, I know I go through so many different phases of workouts where one phase I'm in this summer phase right now where I'm really into running and strength training mixed with a little bit of Pilates work. And that's what I'm really enjoying right now. Sometimes I'll throw in from my old swim team days and I'll swim a little bit. But in the winter, I start to get more inside and taking my workouts indoors, a little bit less running, possibly a little bit more Pilates style, strength style. So I definitely go through phases with my own workouts, but I've noticed that my body positively shifts with those phases of training. For example, if I've strength trained with the same programming for a few years, honestly, it's really nice to shift to a different sort of programming or a different style of movement to notice those positive changes within my body. I went through this probably about 2 years ago where I was strength training religiously for a long time. And strength training has never truly left my routine, but I was just realizing I was going into my workouts less motivated. And so I took time to learn some basic Pilates and try and incorporate Pilates in my own routine. And my body really changed for the better with that shift. I stuck with Pilates and strength training for a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? I'm starting to not be as excited about my Pilates. Let me start adding in running. And so it's this very fluid process and there's no right answer. It really just depends on how you feel in your body and what your body positively responds to and how you enjoy the movement. Because for me, I know strength training is so good for me. And I've been able to incorporate some of my favorite strength training and shift my strength training to be more motivated in it and enjoy it more throughout these different years and years of training. But it doesn't always look the same because I get bored, and it's okay to shift and it's okay to have phases in your training and in your exercise routine. With variety, it is so nice to be able to incorporate so many different types of movement, and we should not be demonizing something like bar or yoga or strength training or running or Pilates for someone because that might be what they enjoy. Even hiking or walking, sometimes those sorts of things are really just grounding and mentally resetting your mindfulness state and how you're viewing that movement and that exercise, that it is really healthy, even if you're not focusing on these metrics of, okay, I have to lift this certain amount in order to gain muscular strength or muscular hypertrophy or muscular power, or I have to run at this pace in order to improve my speed or my endurance. It's sometimes nice just to throw in those extra workouts that are just fun for you and that you look forward to. So a big thing for me too is understanding the physiological and neurological benefits of variety and of experimentation. I'll mention this, I mentioned it in the Hotter and Smarter episode previously, but when you're starting a strength training routine specifically, the first 4 weeks, the increases in strength are actually from a better mind-muscle connection. We have this ability to utilize, as we start to lift more and more weight, we have this ability to cue in to some of these pathways, mind-muscle connections that we might not have previously had. And so in the first 4 weeks of adding variety with your strength training workouts, you might notice an increase in strength, but that's not necessarily because the muscle size is increasing or you're getting more cells, but you're better recruiting the ones you already have because you are driving down some of those highways, mind-muscle connections that might not have been as strong as some of the pathways. So that's one example of how variety actually helps, but variety also helps in so many other ways. We mentioned in the episode with Dr. Dixie, novel movement patterns. And when we're doing any sort of novel movement patterns or new movement patterns, a lot of the time it is our body relearning how to do something or figuring something out, which is so healthy for not only our musculoskeletal system, but also for our brain, and learning new movement patterns and driving down some of those pathways that we might not drive down as much. If you've ever started strength training and then switched to Pilates or bar, you might notice that I can squat super heavy weight, but all of a sudden throw me in a bar or Pilates class and your muscles start to get a little bit more sore because you're challenging them in a different way. And you're usually challenging some of those smaller stabilizing muscles in a different way. So variety really helps you access a lot of different parts of not only your brain, but your musculoskeletal system, of your movement patterning. And it's a really helpful way to make sure that your body is positively responding to exercise and not staying stuck trying to adapt to the same stimulus over and over again. Variety helps us to add a new stimulus so that our body can be learning those new movement patterns, accessing those different mind-muscle connection points, accessing different parts of our musculoskeletal system in order to positively adapt in the way that we want towards the goals that we want. So I think a key to figuring out what exercise is right for your body is actually being okay with variety and challenging your body, challenging those new movement patterns, challenging those mind-muscle connections in a new way so that your body's not getting stagnant in a certain routine or movement, and it's constantly having to adapt and change and be resilient towards whatever stress or stimulus you're placing on it in the form of movement. It is so beneficial for our brain and body to have that variety. And then I think the last key to figuring out what exercise is truly right for your body is understanding the balance between doing what you enjoy and then discipline for what is truly good for your body. Sometimes our bodies and what we enjoy might be being lazy watching TV on the couch, and those days are okay, but we also need to have the discipline and understanding that yes, we do need to actually involve movement and have these stressors placed on our body in order for our muscles to adapt and strengthen our bones and have all of these positive neurological benefits, fighting back against some of these neurodegenerative diseases later on in life, improving our balance, our reaction time, so many different things that improve with exercise that sometimes even if we want to be lazy and lay on the couch, which is okay some of the time, but we do have to balance what we enjoy and what we want to do, which might possibly be lie on the couch and be lazy, with the discipline for what we should do and what we need to do in order to healthily prepare our bodies for now and later on in life. So yes, as much as I want to say, just do what you enjoy, there is this balance that needs to happen where we do want to especially do what we enjoy because that helps to build consistency, but also challenge our muscle system, challenge our heart system, challenge our brain, our nervous system, challenge so many other parts of our body in order to have some of the positive effects of movement, even when we might not feel like it. And along with that, I know a lot of us do struggle with consistency and struggle building that routine. So the last thing I wanted to talk about that we mentioned in Dr. Dixie's episode was the book Atomic Habits and truly how to build motivation and build consistency in any sort of habit that you want to form, whether that's movement, fueling, sleep, mindfulness, meditation, prayer, any sort of healthy practice. We're using this for healthy behaviors, not for non-healthy behaviors, but how to truly build that consistency and build that routine with motivation and without. And one of the key components that we talked about was really internalizing this new habit or this new routine as part of your identity, rather than saying, I am trying to be an exerciser, changing that to I am an exerciser. Dr. Dixie mentioned the classic example of smoking. When people try and quit smoking, a lot of the times they're saying, I am trying to quit smoking. No, thank you. I'm trying to quit. Where that trying still indicates that they do not identify as a non-smoker. They are trying to quit, but they have not put that as part of their identity and put that I am a non-smoker as part of their identity. We're changing that from I am trying to stop smoking to I don't smoke anymore. Now puts that as part of your identity as a non-smoker. So it's really about changing this hope and this desire for change to making that change a part of your identity. And we talked about the book Atomic Habits, which is an absolutely incredible book. It's one that I had been rebelling against, as I mentioned, and it is so amazing. I highly recommend it for anyone because it truly does help us understand how to make small changes with how we approach healthy routines and healthy behaviors rather than these drastic changes that are so hard to stick with. And it talks about this concept of making that change in that routine as part of your identity and slowly compounding those small changes over time. And that will truly help build consistency in some of the routines that we're all trying to create. So to answer the question, what exercise is right for my body and your body? It comes down to a few pillars. What do you enjoy doing? That's probably the most important. What does your body positively respond to? What does your body need? How does your body handle these workouts? So we take into account injury history. And of course, we take into account your goals and what you actually want to do. Because a lot of the time, this variety and this experimentation is great for people who are just looking to maintain and improve their life. But if you do have a goal, there is a concept called specificity of training, where if you're training for a marathon, you need to train like you're running for a marathon. That includes increasing some of the distance. That includes speed workouts. So there is a little bit of a disclaimer where if you do have a goal in mind, like you can't just do strength training and Pilates and expect to be able to run a triathlon or perform in a triathlon in the best way. You actually need to train like you're going to compete. So this, I guess, is the disclaimer is if you do have a goal in mind, we want to train based on that goal, and the experimentation, the variety, the things that you might enjoy doing. Hopefully you enjoy your training, but the things you might enjoy doing, those might start to lessen in priority based on this goal that you have. And then if you do struggle with consistency and discipline, thinking of how can I change my self-talk to relate to this habit that I'm trying to form or this routine that I'm trying to change. I am trying to exercise versus I am an exerciser. I am consistent. I am disciplined with my exercise routine. And that's why I can't stay up late tonight because I have an early morning workout in the morning. Changing your mindset and then also being willing to experiment and understand what your body positively responds to, what you enjoy doing, what your body needs, and listening to your body when it comes to possibly needing to be lazy or have a little bit of a rest day, but also balancing that with the movement and the healthy routines that we know are good for our bodies and not just shifting to that laziness that we sometimes feel. The episode with Dr. Dixie was one of my absolute favorites. It's a memory that I'll always cherish. I'm so glad I have that audio and video and laughter because she is truly one of the most brilliant people I know from an intellectual standpoint, but also such a role model in how she approaches her movement and her healthy routines throughout the lifespan. So I'm so glad we got to break it down for the Wellness Baddies today, covering Dr. Dixie's episode. If you missed it, I will link it in the show notes below so that you guys can go back and listen to it and enjoy that conversation because she truly has such nuggets of wisdom that she shares. And this is only covering a small bit of it, but I hope it starts to answer the question and starts to help clarify the question, what exercise is right for my body? That way we don't have to ever feel like the type of movement we enjoy is demonized or bad for us. I'm going to bring it back to a book that I recently read called The Courage to be Disliked, but it talks about how a lot of our thought processes and how we can view certain things gets clouded based on us not staying in our own lanes and veering into someone else's lane or letting someone else veer into our lane. And so it talks about staying in your own lane, staying focused on your goals, your body, rather than comparing your life to someone else's or allowing their viewpoints and the way that their body works to cloud your view of your body and come more into your lane. So I liked that thought of, oh my gosh, Pilates works so well for her. Her body looks great. That's really working well for her. I'm going to let her do that because my body responds well in this way. And not judging people for the type of movement that they choose to do, knowing that they are just trying to figure out their balance between what they enjoy, what's healthy for their body, and what their body positively responds to. So I hope this episode provides some clarity on the exercise that's right for your body, but also helps to throw away judgment on anyone who is exercising in the way that feels right for their bodies, and throw away judgment on everyone else and how they move, because movement should not be so controversial. It should really come down to some of the pillars that we talked about today. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you enjoyed it, if you've been along for the ride, I'm so grateful for everyone who listens. And I thank you so much. If you enjoyed this episode, please share, comment, subscribe. It really does help the podcast. We have so many exciting episodes coming up. The next episodes will be all about Mamapalooza, which is our podcast festival focused on women's health, motherhood, and all of the topics that we're too afraid to talk about sometimes. So we'll be covering pregnancy, postpartum, sexual health, pelvic health, exercising during pregnancy and postpartum. And I'm so happy to have a lot of these experts on to share, because even if you're not in that stage, I'm saying it's for new moms, veteran moms, moms to be, and moms eventually, which I consider myself a mom eventually, where I'm not quite in that stage yet, but I really do think even if you're not in that stage, learning about some of these topics and being aware of them, because as my friends are going through these stages, I'm hearing all of their concerns and challenges and the blessings that come with it. But I really do think having that education and that knowledge before you even get to that stage is going to help you and help me so much. So I'm so excited to share that. Stay tuned for the Mamapalooza podcast festival coming up. Share it with all your friends. I'd really appreciate it, because I do think we have so many great interviews that I've already done and have scheduled, and so many coming up that I'm excited to share with you guys. So that's all. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you guys again on the next episode of Wellness Big Sis the Pod.